So we have been out a few weeks here at the Dose, like 2 out of the last 3 weeks. But there have been a number of big sports stories taking place. And while it's really popular right now to throw out hot takes these days in sports media, taking this extra time actually allows us to take in the full picture, take in the full story, and see things just a little more clearly. So right now, we are going to be taking a look at some of what we have learned in sports recently. And to start off, we learned that, like I talked about earlier, the Denver Nuggets broke a 56-year streak of never winning anything whatsoever of importance. The Nuggets used their size, they used their strength, and they rolled through the NBA postseason in just 20 total games. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games, the Phoenix Suns in 6 games, the Los Angeles Lakers in 4 games, and then the Miami Heat also in 5 games. That, by the way, is the second fewest games needed since the NBA expanded their playoff format back in 2003. That's pretty dominant. And I know what the sports media narrative is right now. The Denver Nuggets faced garbage teams in their run. Fair enough. Totally get it. They played an 8 seed, then a 4 seed, then a 7 seed, and another 8 seed. So yeah, no 2s, no 3s. They didn't even face a 1 in the finals. So it was a softer trek than many have had. And yet, if it was so soft, why didn't most of the experts pick the Nuggets to win it all? Most of them had them going and losing to the Suns. They definitely had them losing to the Lakers. And, a lot of the experts on that worldwide leader in sports network, they picked the Miami Heat in the finals. So you thought the competition was good, apparently, because you picked them. But then when the Nuggets whipped them, then it wasn't good. Not sure exactly how that works. You can't have it both ways. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the Nuggets faced murderer's row, but let's not forget, they did beat Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker. They did sweep LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and then they did beat Jimmy Butler, and they did it pretty easily. So that's a decent group of players' heads that you placed on your mantle as you beat them. But I will tell you that what I personally learned from the Nuggets title run, for all of the talk about their offense and the amazing offensive player that star center, and let's be honest, should have been 3-time NBA MVP Nikola Jokic is, it was the Nuggets defense that won this title for him. In those 5 games against the Miami Heat, the Nuggets only scored 104 points per game. That is a far cry from their season average of nearly 116 points per game. So how did they win? Well, the Nuggets only allowed 96 points per game in those finals. Look, I started watching the Denver Nuggets back in the 70s when I was a little kid. I never thought I would see them win a title. I truly didn't. I certainly never thought I would see them win a title with defense and with toughness. And I have to give a ton of credit to their head coach, Mike Malone, who, I'll be very honest, I have doubted often in his run here in Denver. There are times his substitution patterns, they drive me crazy. And sometimes I feel like that offense lacks imagination. He does just a lot of Jokic Murray 2-man stuff, and I understand it, but I can't even argue with his results now. Mike Malone led this franchise that has a history of hard luck and stupidity to a title. And honestly, I still can't believe it. Okay, and now I am going to discuss one more thing that I learned after the Nuggets title run. And I can't put it all on them. That's not fair. And I'm not blaming them for this. And you can go ahead and you can call me old man as I tell the young whippersnappers, get off my lawn. But I'm going to say this anyway. And I know it won't be popular. I know a lot of people won't like it, but I have to say it. Okay, I'm going to say this. Are you ready? Does anyone know why the tradition began After the Indianapolis 500 race, where the winner drinks milk, do you know where that all came from? A lot of people don't. Back in the 30s, Louis Meyer drank milk, and the Dairy Association jumped on it, and they paid the drivers to drink it. And they felt it was a wholesome thing, and so they created this sponsorship with the milk company. And after the 500, people still do it. Thought it was a good representation for kids. These days, Indy 500 winners get a few $100,000 to drink the milk. But again, everyone liked it because drinking milk looked nice. It looked wholesome for the winners to be drinking it instead of maybe beer or champagne or whatever they could drink. But now, when teams win a championship, we are seeing this tradition of players getting completely trashed publicly at the parade. And honestly, it's become the new norm. And don't get me wrong, it can be funny. I'm not saying that. We see Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi trophy. We saw here at the Nuggets parade, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shotgunning 2 beers at a time, and it's all pretty funny. I get it. But, here we go. Old man, get off my lawn. Here is my moment. What are we teaching our kids when they watch this stuff? Our kids are jacked up enough these days, aren't they? Without watching their heroes act like complete drunken imbeciles in public. Can you imagine, for 1 second, athletes like Julius Erving or Walter Payton, Joe Namath, even Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Joe Montana, getting obliterated in public and acting like fools? That would never happen. Why? Because those players from that era had way too much respect for themselves, for their families, for their teams, to do it. And they didn't want to be seen by kids acting that way. I know. I'm old grouchy guy. I get it. Believe me. But these guys are supposed to be heroes to our kids, aren't they? This trend is kind of disgusting and it's kind of gross. And I would hope that parents are at home telling their kids, okay, that's what they're doing. That's not okay for you. But you know what? I bet they aren't. Okay, YouTube. Like I said, we've been off a week or so here at The Dose. So this week, we are going back and we are kind of recapping what we have learned from the world of sports. A number of things going on. We learned some things in Major League Baseball, college sports, of course, the NHL crowned a new champion, a number of things. We also have some NBA news to talk. And we have a Daly Dose Top 5 for you this week. Do not forget, tomorrow night is the NBA draft. We have a word of caution about what is coming in that NBA draft. So make sure that you go over and check out the full podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.